All right, today, top 10 fails with Korallen Zucht, all the mistakes that we've made, and they're really about the fact that it isn't super easy to see how the stuff works or all of how it works together in a total ecosphere. So today we're going to solve that. There's a lot of challenges that people have, and we're going to answer the top 10 fails here, and you're going to learn a whole lot about Korallen Zucht. All right, so starting with number one, there's like 86 or 186, these little blue bottles. They do all kinds of different things. How are you supposed to know?
Yeah, so don't make the mistake of not reading the entire system guide or just the system guide for the ones that you want. Every single blue bottle that they have has a description, tells you what it is, what it does, and you can find that all in the system guide.
So really the mistake for me was in the past going reading every product description in 86 different bottles. And it's kind of time consuming and it's really not easy. In one really easy sheet, you can find it on the product page of almost any one of these things. You can look at it and see what the solution or the issue that they're trying to solve for you, how they're going to do it, and which products do it the best. And you can look at all of them and really expand the world of Korallen Zucht and how they can solve the specific issues that you might be having. All right, so number two, these things are commonly intertwined and mistaken, but they don't have to be.
Yeah, so don't make the mistake of not understanding the difference between KZ and Zeovit. KZ is the overarching brand, a lot of problem solvers. One of those problem solvers is a nutrient control method called Zeovit, or the Zeovit system.
Yeah, so actually same thing on the product page. You can see the differentiation with that sheet that shows you all of the solutions. There's another sheet about Zeovit. Zeovit is a system or method for running your tank, and that system is probably one of the oldest, at least coming out of Germany, decades old, and it seems to produce some of the most brilliant colored tanks out there, at least sometimes the most consistently produced tanks like that. So number three, this is a topic that's always been there for them, but I think only now a lot of reefers are really starting to understand.
Yeah, so missing what the Zeovit system is about is the mistake here, where it's heavy nutrition in, heavy nutrients out.
Yeah, so there's the words there, right? So nutrition in means carbohydrates, proteins, amino acids.
Yeah.
However, if we go heavy in, we can end up with all kinds of nutrients, being like nitrogen and phosphorus building up the tank, which is not only bad for the corals and the health of the fish, but also it tends to breed all kinds of problems in the tank with pest organisms and algae growing. So in this case, the system's all about adding all that nutrition in for the health of the corals and the fish, but not allowing all of those nutrients to build up. So heavy in, heavy out. So number four, the rules aren't laws.
Yeah, so don't make that mistake of thinking the Zeovit system is every single day and I have to do it every single day. You can actually skip a weekend. Yeah,
so some on the Zeovit system here, some of these things say do it every 3 days, you know, pump the rocks every day. And so when we're here, we did. But on the BRS 160, during a period where the 160 was doing its best, we were running the Zeovit method, and you know what? Nobody's here on the weekends. So it wasn't getting the dose on the weekends, and nobody's pumping the rocks, you know. So just because there's suggestions in there doesn't make it the law. All right, so number five, everybody likes instant cures and magically making everything go away, but sometimes there's a better option.
Yeah, so don't overlook Cyano Clean and using it, some as a cure, but even as a preventative because you dose it constantly to the tank.
Yeah, so Cyano Clean is like a more natural way of solving the cyano problems in your tank. It will often take, 4 to 6 weeks, but rather than constantly dosing some of the poisons or toxins in the tank that will eliminate all the cyano, it's a more natural way of eliminating it and then keeping it out of the tank. All right, number 6, you got pests in your tank? Good luck.
Yeah, so don't overlook using Flatworm Stop as a tool for pests, especially flatworms, because once they're in there, you might not be able to get them out.
Yeah, you got 2 paths. You can, use an advanced skill set to eradicate them from the tank. If you can do that for sure.
Yeah.
But if you're unsuccessful doing that, you may just have to manage to the fact that they're in there. And one of the ways you can do that is with Flatworm Stop. Flatworm Stop is believed to work by making the tissue less palatable. And so what will happen is the flatworms are in there. They're just less likely to munch in on your corals and propagate inside the tank. I can tell you one of the most impressive SPS tanks here in Minneapolis, a gentleman came in and actually showed this one to me. I hadn't used it before.
Yeah. And
he had flatworms, acro-eating flatworms in his tank, but he just managed to that fact and it didn't actually affect his tank. Now what we've also seen with it is it tends to actually just produce healthier tissue in general. And in our case, anecdotally, we actually thought that it helped fight off the Monty-eating nudibranchs as well. So this is one of those things that a lot of people just end up using because it seems to produce healthier corals. Number 7, super bright pastel colors from Zeotanks. Where does it come from?
Yeah, so don't make the mistake of not knowing where those pastel colors come from. Also, don't make the mistake of thinking that that is the only tank that you can do with the Zeovit system, because you don't have to use this stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you this is next level reefing, right? Yeah. You really need to pay attention. This is part of why nutrition and not just nutrients are so important with some of these methods. Zeospur. So Zeospur will actually help control the amount of zooxanthellae that are living with the tissue. So if you have really dark corals and the zooxanthellae are overwhelming the normal color pigment in the coral, the Zeospur will actually control it. And by control it, I mean actually help it get rid of some, which is obviously a next level type of reefing, but it's been done for decades now. So know what you're doing when you use a Zeospur. You're actually helping the coral eliminate itself of some of the zooxanthellae, which is a little risky, but that's part of why they have all of that coloration that comes out with the Zeovit tanks. All right, because that last one sounds a little bit risky and you don't want to be mad scientists, what do you do?
Yeah, don't make the mistake of missing the community of Zeovit users, people who reef just like you do and are after the same goals. A lot of them have made some mistakes along the way. You can learn from them and you can ask them questions. They are the smartest about all of these products.
Yeah, they've used them before. They can tell you which ones work together the best. But most importantly, I wish there was more communities like this, because in a general arena, you're only going to learn about how all things work. In this case, these people have chosen a specific path very close to yours. They have a goal of, this is what I want my tank to look like. How do I get there? And they're all doing it together. So in this case, check out the Zeovit forum because it will help you a ton. All right, so number 9, there's a reason why you see the organization on the website the way it is.
Yeah, so the mistake is missing the difference between the nutrition and the elements in specific products that are designed for those purposes. There's problem solvers, there's nutrition, there's elements. Trace and minor elements are one thing, nutrition, food, aminos are another.
We actually loaned that off of their little product guide or solution guide. And so if you have specific issues like flatworms or cyano or dirty water, there's all kinds of solutions for that. You can find that in a category. But the elements generally are the things that change the color of the coral. So promote either formation or highlighting specific color pigments, or even the formation of fluorescent pigments. I kind of nurture that. So those things are there, but you can also get the nutrition, which is like all of your amino acids and similar items to that, so they can help the metabolic function of the coral as well as promote some desirable things like coloration. All right, so number 10, I'm going to actually take this one because it was my own journey here and my own failure of my own cautious approach to reefing, which left a lot of room on the table. So in the beginning, I only used the things that I thought absolutely were necessary. Absolutely necessary does mean things are left on the table. And what I found is during the 160, we tried the Zeovit method because you guys wanted to see it, we wanted to see how it worked, and it produced really solid results. You saw it in Jason's tank, produced really solid results there as well. And then in the 160, we shifted away, and the results went away with it. However, we did come back. And this is where that earlier one came up with heavy nutrition in, but nutrients out. Now we're managing nutrients out with the refugium, but we're putting nutrition in with a handful of the Korallen Zucht products going in the top. So nutrition in for the corals, and you can see the tank now. The 160 has never looked better. So going away from it had a downturn. Coming back absolutely had the desired result. So if there's only one thing you heard today, let it be this.
Yeah, for me, it is a lot of people think that the pastel colors are synonymous with the Zeovit system. You don't have to have the pastel colors. You can actually not use the Zeospur and still get awesome results.
The Zeospur is kind of like a secret of the whole thing, so good catch. For me, it's actually, there's value in following the system, step by step. But it's not a law. You can deviate from it. The Zeovit system is separate from all of the other things. You can solve different problems in different ways. And really, man, it's a whole array of things. And if you want to see all of them, you can find them right here.